So let's go ahead and do that first. I'm going to call mine staff info. And then, yeah, I'm just going to grab Hello Dolly. It's convention to have a file in your plugin folder that has the same name as your plugin. It is not required. It'll know to look in the right place. Again, you'll want to make a name for this that's pretty unique. I called my plugin Topher's Staff Info. It's pretty unlikely anybody else in the world is going to make one of those. My description is simply creates functions to deal with staff info. What we're going to do right now is make a shortcode that renders staff, but you can throw a whole bunch of different functions in here to make a whole bunch of different shortcodes. Then I want you to go to the codex and look up add shortcode. There's an examples section, and I want you to look at the second example. And actually, just copy the whole thing. Rename your function to something you like. It can be anything you want. The end user's never going to see this. So I'm going to call it Topher Staff Headshot because I'm going to do a picture with their name. And then down on the add shortcode thing, call it that. Then the first argument in add shortcode is the thing the end user is going to see. So name it something. You don't want spaces or apostrophes or punctuation, but it should be reasonably easy to use too, depending on who's doing it. I'm probably going to call mine exactly the same as my function because I'm the only one going to use this and I know what it does. So in this case, it's coincidence that these two arguments are the same. Has anyone ever not used a shortcode? Everybody's used a shortcode. Okay, so you know that you could pass arguments in your shortcode. Right here are where you declare what your arguments are supposed to be. So I want to only accept one, and I'm going to call it ID. And I'll give it a default of 1. Because what I want to do is, in my shortcode, be able to say, get user ID 42. And it goes and gets that user ID. You could also, instead, make it name and have it be based on the name field. But then, you have to hope that you spell it right and stuff like that. So it's kind of a toss-up. On the one hand, it's a pain to have to go find the ID of the user you want to display. On the other hand, if you have the ID, you will probably not get it wrong. So I like ID. And we don't even need that return yet. Okay. So what we want to do is go get information about user ID whatever, user ID 1. So now I want you to go look up WP query in the codex. And go to the usage section. It's number 3. And the first section is the query, and it instantiates WP query. And then there's a little while loop. Let's see. So I want you to grab the stuff I've highlighted there. Paste it into your function. All right, so then.
Where is on that after?
Oh, yep, right after ats. And the only other thing you need from that example is the reset original post data, which in your other plugin said avoid weirdness. There we go. Let's get our tabs proper. All right, this while line and the line under it, I like having them on the same line. It just makes a whole lot more sense to me visually. So what we have here is we're instantiating WP query. WP query is a class. The thing you make with it is an object. So now the query is an object. Then we have the loop. While the query has posts, do stuff with each post. Right now, it's just echoing get the title. We don't want to echo get the title. We want, let's see. You know what? I didn't declare a variable. Up near the top, I'm just going to say $output equals empty, nothing. So then I can say $output dot equals. And now, $output is getting loaded up with get the title. And so then I'm going to return down at the bottom $output. Now it's not quite right yet, like it's not getting what we want, but functionally speaking, everything's all set. At the top, we're looking for an argument being passed in. We're declaring $output. We're instantiating WP query. We're looping through the results. We're getting the title and loading it into $output. And then we are returning $output. Then at the bottom, we're using the add shortcode function, which actually makes this thing work. And this would work right now. It would load up all the information for post ID, well no, get the title for post ID number 1. Now post ID number 1 was the hello world that came with WordPress, and I deleted it. So in actuality, we would get nothing. So let's tell it what to get. Flip over to WP query again on the codex. And let's see, where's the first good example? There are 2 ways to pass variables in, and one of them is the same way as get posts, like this, where you just pass them right in, and it looks like a get variable string. But I like passing it in through args. $args is an array, post type, meta key, order by, order, meta, etc. So the things we're going to want to express is that we want to get from post type staff, we want to get published items so that we're not getting somebody in draft or whatever like that. Order doesn't matter because we're getting a single one, the one we declare. We're also going to want to declare our post ID. Let's see, that would be under post and page parameters. There's P, post ID. Okay, so type parameters. So it's post underscore type. So check this out. Right above the query, I'm going to make a variable called $args. The name of this tends to be $args, but it doesn't have to be. It's just a lot of people use it. So then I'm going to say post type staff. So now it's only getting post type staff. You know, in actuality, because we're expressing a post ID, you don't really have to say published or post type staff because it's going to get number 42, no matter what it is. But as like just to be sure and real about this, I like to say what we're getting. So then I don't remember post status. What is it? Oh, all right. I did, and I'm going to tell you why in a minute. Post underscore status. Come on. All right. So I have a comma at the beginning of this one. What you really need is a comma between each of them. It doesn't matter if it's at the end of the previous one or the beginning of this one. I tend to be a comma first kind of guy because then I can just throw stuff onto the bottom of this and I don't have to worry about whether or not there's a comma at the end of the last one or not. So then we want p equals $ID. So the bit at the top that says extract shortcode ats, what that does is take all the keys that you put in your shortcode and convert them to variables that contain the value that you sent in. Throw that up there. You know, I should probably comment on that. Other variables sent by shortcode. Declare $output. Set up WP query arguments. There's the query, there's the loop, there's restore original post data. All right. Theoretically, this is done. We can use the shortcode, we can pass it an ID, and it will get the title. It'll wrap it in LI tags, which is interesting. We don't have UL tags. Which is syntactically poor. So I'm just throwing some UL tags around my while loop so that my list item is actually inside. It's actually an unordered list. All right, so let's give this a shot. I'm going to go to WordPress. I'm going to create a brand new page, just a regular old-fashioned page. Call it My Staff Member. And throw that in there. I'm going to get the ID of a staff member. So this one is post 12. So Judy Bloom is post 12. ID equals 12. Publish. Let's go view my page and see if I have Judy Bloom's title. I didn't activate my plugin. Topher staff info, activate. So if you have a plugin that creates a shortcode and you put the shortcode in there and then later deactivate the plugin, people are going to see your shortcode on the front end. Let's see.